we are going to lead the world in supporting you in the emergency phase and the early recovery phase. The world will help you in the reconstruction, but in the reconstruction phase, Pakistan must take its own leadership and decide what its own priorities are. And the world will help, but the bulk of the support must come from within. That's just a reality. Oh, I've been to many refugee camps in my life, and the refugees in these camps were like all refugees. They've lost their possessions, they're confused, but I was struck by their resilience. These are very tough people. They don't have much communications with the outside world. Most of them can't read or write. The people I talked to didn't even know how old they were. The kids didn't know how old they were, but they knew exactly what the issues were. They knew how much water there was on their land. They knew what had happened to their livestock, their cattle, and they want to go home, and they are going to go back much faster than most people realize. That there's some things that it's difficult to talk about, but we face a common threat from militants in the border regions. They are killing Americans in Afghanistan. They're killing Pakistanis. They are trying to provoke conflict between India and Pakistan. They are planning attacks on other countries, including the United States, Great Britain, Australia, and all your great friends. They are trying to stir up international jihad. They are a common enemy, and to ignore them would be to ignore the greatest threat to both your country's civilization, everything that the free press in this studio here in Islamabad today represents. You know what these people would do to you if they got hold of you. They'd kill every one of you. You're the most dangerous people to them, not the soldiers, because you're disseminating facts and truth. So be very careful when the press agitates this issue. They should think hard about what they're doing. My hope is that we'll have an honest and fair election, but I know it's going to be flawed. It's not possible to have a completely fair election in the middle of a war. The Taliban, the highest single day of military activity in the history of the war in Afghanistan was Election Day last year, and we're very mindful of that. The ISAF troops have gone out and are providing security. It'll take a few weeks to count the results. I've talked to the election commissioners about it when I was in Afghanistan a month ago, and we're watching with great interest. The international community's goal in Afghanistan is to leave the country after the country is stable and able to take care of its own security. But when I say leave, I'm talking about combat troops. The United States is not going to stop giving economic development assistance to Afghanistan. They need it. The international community has to continue to train the police and the army into the future. It is not in the interests of Afghanistan or Pakistan or the region for the Taliban to take over. And on that, we're in full agreement with your government. Pakistan has a very important and legitimate role in what happens in Afghanistan. I want to be very clear on that. And when I come here, I don't just talk to your leaders about Pakistan issues. I talk also about things in Afghanistan, because you have legitimate interests.